what issues do you think are going to be the most important for Hamilton County schools in the coming 4 years? So when this is all said and done, or when we return next year, like what do you think is going to be one of those long-lasting effects of this whole situation?
Hamilton County Schools is going to have to take some time to kind of rebuild after this pandemic.
Addressing the achievement gap, also public school funding. I think paying teachers, increasing resources for schools in the area is going to be really important. And then I also think that integrating and supporting English language learners is going to be important.
Communication and transparency, I think for the next couple of years that's going to have to be more prevalent than ever, just so people can feel safe and feel comfortable, because coming up, a lot of people don't feel safe with having to wear a face mask or having all these changes on top of just the state that the world is in right now. So I think that's their biggest challenge, is really being transparent and understanding that people are going to need them to like really be there for them.
I think attendance is going to be a huge problem. We have to find a way to hold families, parents, and students who are old enough to, we have to hold them accountable for their attendance, and we have to have something in place. I'm not sure what it is, but there has to be something to be like, hey, you have to be here. We have to find some way to get them to be on board and be there.
Honestly, it's going to be a lot of students within this coming school year who aren't on grade level and aren't where they're supposed to be. And they were close before all this happened, but now they're not. So I guess that's the thing I'm most concerned about, is that huge learning gap that's going to occur.
Budget and restorative justice. By budget, I mean there's no way that education system can be fully functioning without the adequate money to go to it. Plenty of teachers still have to purchase their own supplies to even be able to properly educate their students. And when I mean restorative justice, I mean we should be approaching student misconduct and misbehavior not with punitive punishment, but with things like counseling, talking it out, creating a level of understanding for behavior and why a child would act that way.
The major thing that they're going to have to focus on as a county is teachers, and making sure that they are a competitive district in terms of pay for teachers, which I know has been a concern over the last few years anyway. But I think after this crisis, a lot of people are struggling financially, and they're going to have to maintain competitive pay if they don't want to lose teachers to other districts, I think.
I also would really love to see a reform to our discipline policies, to use less expulsion and suspension and more child-based practices like restorative justice come in to be an issue that a lot of people are talking about in the next 4 years.
I'd really like to see more equity in terms of how discipline is meted out in different schools and different cultures, different groups of kids. I think it's really important for us to get the education, the test scores up so that kids are graduating from high school, kids are ready to go to college or get into the workforce. I think this is vitally important for our entire community.
Even if we return to school like normal in August, we will have been sort of out of school for 6 months or 5 months. And I know the district has made a lot of progress in terms of being competitive score-wise throughout the state, which is, whether we like it or not, a big factor for getting funding.
I think the response that we have and how we reopen is going to be critical. I also think that just a lot of the world issues that are going on right now are going to flow into our classrooms. So I think that we have to prepare ourselves in preparation of conversation, how we teach, the things that we teach, being sensitive and aware and alert to the things that are going on in the real world, and just, how those things may affect our kids. In the last few months, our kids have, being blunt, being honest, our kids have experienced the pandemic. They've experienced rallies. They've seen the murder on television. Like, they have seen and heard and went through a lot of them may have had food shortages. A lot of them have seen their parents laid off. So just in the last 6 months, these kids have gone through a lot of emotional and traumatic incidences, and a lot of them are just they don't have a routine anymore. So I think just getting them back to normal is going to be a challenge as well, and how teachers, respond to the gap, because there have always been gaps, but there's definitely going to be a gap now with these kids have been out of school for 6 months. So just how do we fill in the gap, and how do we keep it moving? Because at the same time, I don't want to slow down, because we have to keep going.